Chris Lemonis joins us, head baseball coach at Mississippi State. Coach, as always, appreciate your time on a Monday, especially after a difficult weekend. And I don't know how else exactly to couch this, but a difficult weekend is you've had a day to process it and get back with your team and get back to practice. What are your thoughts on kind of how it went and where you go from here?
Well, it went bad, so that's an easy one.
Okay.
And we got to get better. Like we've been working all day. Talking all day, trying to figure it out, making some adjustments, maybe changing rotation around a little bit, and we got to get better. That's really what it comes down to. There's no time to feel sorry.
How is your team responding right now? Because obviously they're going through it alongside you, and it's discouraging and disappointing. Do you see kind of the fight and the frustration and all the things that you need from them to try and kind of weather the storm, if that maybe is the right way to describe it?
Yeah, I see the fight and the frustration. There's frustration. There's expectation. This is a prideful program, prideful fan base, and when you're not playing well, it's not good. Obviously it's not good anywhere, but it's harder here, and they're frustrated. They're pissed, and they're, in this world, we have to play better. And in my world, after a really tough loss on a Friday night, getting them motivated to go back the next day, that's the fight we're in right now. And they're still fighting. I give them a lot of credit. They fought to the end of the Vanderbilt game yesterday. And, we're going to have to fight and come out and be ready to go tomorrow.
Coach, we asked you a lot of questions in the press conferences this weekend, and the sort of a theme was, that's on me, I've got to figure it out. That was your answer for a lot of those things. Where do you start? What's the first thing that needs to be figured out at this point?
We have to figure out our pitching staff, by far. I mean, we got to figure out a little bit defensively, but we have to figure out our pitching staff. We have performed at a really low level. I know we've had some injuries and we've had some things there, but the kids that we're pitching are better than what they're pitching right now. And that goes on the staff of trying to figure it out. So we're watching a lot of game film, analytics, trying to figure out the best pieces. There's just not a consistency in there. It makes it tough. Coaching a bullpen or making calls out of the bullpen are tough when you don't know what you're going to get. Consistent performance is what we're looking for, and trying to figure out, why we're giving up hits at this rate and runs at this rate.
Do you feel like it's a game plan issue, or is it an execution issue? Do you feel confident in what you're teaching the kids, or is it just when they get out there on the mound, something's not clicking for them?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit more execution. It's hard to get hit at a 400-something rate if you're putting balls in good spots. It doesn't matter what you call it. If you make a fastball low and away and it's low and away, it's just hard to hit. Problem is we're hitting the middle of the plate too much. And then on the flip side, when you're behind in counts, that's when the highest batting averages are. So we have to learn to control counts. We have to make better pitches in those counts.
Chris, I've always heard people talk about hitting as being contagious. You see a guy get a big knock and, it just kind of trickles on down the order. Can that be the inverse on the pitching side of things? And I know you would like for it not to be, but does a guy on the staff see somebody else struggling and then maybe put too much pressure on and it causes them to press? Does that make sense?
Well, we have a lot of that going on right now. Like it's my first coach I worked for, good old redneck guy, he called it the lead duck. If you throw out a lead duck on Friday night, and then all the other ducks will follow, right? And right now we're just we don't have a lot of consistency there, so it's putting pressure on everybody else. When you have a great Friday night guy, and Ethan Small, it's amazing how well everybody else pitches because they just see that guy go out there and have success. And so our inconsistency, and we have some good guys. I mean, Gerangelo Ciente's pitched great all year, had a tough outing. We've had some guys go out there and be good. It's just, and then we've had some injuries. So, and I'm not blaming it on injuries, but what it does, the injury puts guys in different roles. And so they've probably not a great job of adjusting to that new role.
I was going to ask you about Gerangelo. Is that why not you, but just coaches in general are so hesitant, even if they've got a super talented guy, to run a freshman out there for game one of a weekend series because you just can't replicate the experience?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, I think you see it with young guys in our league. We got caught in a rotation piece where a guy came out and he fit into that piece, and it's hard to catch him back up, right? As you're going through weeks trying to catch a guy back up and get him pushed back in the weekend and somebody else up. And then the next 2 weeks for us were Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that's probably if I had my choice, I wouldn't want him on Friday night. But I think after week 3 or something, we had to bring him into the weekend, and that's kind of what happened. So it just gets hard to move guys and move a guy up 2 days or back. You can do it one day every once in a while, but you start moving more than a day, it gets tough on the arms.
Last week when you visited with us, we talked a little bit about Bradley Lofton, another talented freshman. And you said I think you said something along the lines of your plan was for him to pitch last week in the midweek and then try to get him into the weekend this weekend. Is that still the plan? Is he pitching for you tomorrow, or will he be part of your weekend plans?
So he's not pitching tomorrow, and we're just trying to figure out where he fits into the weekend plan. So, but yeah, he is not throwing on tomorrow. So. Maybe hopefully help us on the weekend against South Carolina.
Who are you starting tomorrow?
We are starting Evan Sierra and about 8 other guys. So,
well, one of those days. Got it. Hey,
yeah.
you mentioned the Thursday, Friday, Saturday thing. You go back to a Thursday this week. How difficult is that in terms of balancing week to week? Your Thursday, Friday, Saturday, your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or is it just that one day doesn't make that much difference?
No, a day makes a difference. I mean, I learned that my first year. My first year, I think we had like 4 of them, and we yo-yoed Ethan Small back and forth, week to week, and I thought it wore on him as the year went on. It's tough. I mean, like this week is Easter, and so, most of the schools around the league, play Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The lucky part for us is we play the next week in Tuscaloosa, where the TV game, the Thursday night TV game. So at least we stay. I don't mind Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I just like the fact that, we don't have to change weeks. We get the same rest the next week. And then when you come back the following week, you get an extra day, and then you can maybe shuffle around some things and make some things work that way. But it's not easy. But, how do you turn down the TV exposure we get in this league?
Yeah.
That's what's grown our game. That's why we have these stadiums. That's why we're paid what we are. The things that we get is because of ESPN and the wonderful job they do. So, and that Thursday night game, man, everybody in the country that likes college baseball is watching. So you give a little and you get a lot more.
And then, Chris, last thing for you as we look toward this weekend. Obviously, you got Samford tomorrow night, but you look at a team like South Carolina, and this is a crazy thing about the league, right? I mean, they necessarily weren't picked toward the top of the division going into the year, and you look up 6 games in, and they're sitting 6-0 and lead the country in home runs. It's not like it gets any easier.
No, it is, and we have one when you pick the SEC to coach in, play in, whatever. You're going to play against the best, and we've had a run of really good, not just really good teams. I feel like the teams we're playing right now, they're all coming in hot. Vanderbilt was hot; they were good, they played really good. I give them credit. We didn't match them. That's our fault. But we had Kentucky the first weekend. They're playing really good baseball too. So. And before we got there, but you look around our league, there's just not a lot of bad. So you look up at these schedules and the teams you play, and you have to. The problem is we're supposed to be hot and the best. So that's our responsibility. That's my responsibility. So we got to get there.
You're always generous with your time. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.